And now, the final question for 1 million euros. What is the biggest city in Germany? Hamburg, Cologne, Berlin, Munich. I think I'm gonna go with Berlin. Final answer. Well, unfortunately, the correct answer is E, your mom. Wait, huh? What? Germany is a great country to live in, most of the time. They have salty pretzels and women carrying giant glasses of beer, but the things that are considered normal in Germany were not so familiar to me. One day, I just finished my walk and I was walking home when all of a sudden there was a strange blockage between me and my house entry. It was super unusual, but I didn't really think much of it. Me and my German friend were chilling in the living room, and I was probably watching TikToks and funny cat videos. Look at this one. When all of a sudden we hear the only thing that we got is that there's something going on and we should visit a specific website for more information. So we went ahead and Googled it. So apparently they found a mine in the theater, and anyone shown in this red region of the map should evacuate before 6. Oh. I guess we need to evacuate? My mind started to panic. Just a little. We had about an hour to evacuate. So I began frantically packing my most important, sentimental, and expensive things, like my passport, laptop, and my mom's sweater that I stole from her years ago. My German companion seemed a bit more relaxed, but seeing the panic in my eyes, he also started packing all his belongings. Should I take the Switch or my tax papers? Both? I guess I'm taking the Switch. As we were finishing up packing, there was a knock on our door. Hey, you'll need to evacuate the building in 10 minutes. Yeah, no problem. We already packed. Where do we need to go, though? Just head to the shopping mall. That's far enough. Okay, thank you. And like a couple of hitchhikers with our overstuffed backpacks, we headed to the mall. Or, well, next to the mall. There were many benches next to it. So we just occupied one and ate our dinner that I packed frantically back home. It was alright. We also had some snacks. They're so crunchy. There were quite some people outside, and some of them seemed to be also kicked out of their houses. But unlike us, they didn't have any backpacks or their life savings in their hands. So I think they know that this is a common practice and most likely nothing's gonna happen. Did I unnecessarily overpack? Maybe, but I felt like I was totally ready to move somewhere and start a new life. Do you want some chips? After that, I continued to live in Germany for quite some time, and as the months went on, my hair was getting longer and longer and longer, to the point that I didn't like looking at myself in the mirror. I was heavily debating between cutting my own hair or going to a professional. I typically get my hair cut back home, because it's cheaper and I know the hairdresser, so it's not that awkward. And so I watched at least 5 tutorials on YouTube how to cut your own hair, and I've been always eyeing these hairdresser scissors in my local store. But then I remembered the last time I tried shortening my fringe. It did not go so well. And I think that's it. And now this not so successful attempt will be on my passport picture for at least 10 years. Bad hair day, huh? Give me that back. After a lot of thinking and watching more YouTube videos, I decided to get my haircut at a salon. Since my German is not that great, I wanted to make sure that the staff is friendly to folks like me, and they know at least a little bit of English. I found a nice salon, and they had great ratings on Google. It looked a bit fancy based on the website, and the pricings were a bit confusing. I wanted to go for as cheap as possible, and I noticed that washing, blow drying, and styling cost extra. So I wanted to go with the basic pack for 40 euros. Just includes washing and cutting. 40 euros is a bit much for me, but I was a little desperate. I anxiously called in and booked an appointment the next day. And the day off I was a bit nervous, because in a way it either felt like a doctor's appointment or a first date. I got assigned a lovely young hairdresser that also spoke good English. They took me to the hairdresser chair and asked me, "Do you want anything to drink?" I love a good cup of hot cappuccino, but I'm not sure if it's free or not, so I don't want to risk it. No, I think I'm good, but thank you. I showed them a picture of kinda what I want, but the shorter the better. Okay. Are you sure you don't want anything to drink? No, I'm good. Then they proceeded to look at my yesterday washed hair. Okay, let's go wash your hair. During the hair wash, I was asked if I want to add any hair care. I assumed that it was for extra, so I said, no, I'm good, thank you. Now time for the cutting. They were cutting my hair and asking me the typical first date, hairdresser questions like, where are you from? What do you do? What's your PIN number? And it all felt good and dandy. So, how did you decide to become a hairdresser? Well, this is an interesting story actually. Are you sure you don't want anything to drink? No, I'm good. Now that my hair started to look a bit shorter, and it looks like there might be a rat on the floor, it was time to blow dry. Initially, of course, I wanted to blow dry it myself since it's cheaper, but the hairdresser insisted that they'll do it so that they can even out the edges and other related hair things. And I feel like that makes sense, so I let them do their thing, even though it costs a little bit extra. After they cut all the corners and perfected the shape of my mushroom head, is it okay if I put some mousse in your hair? Without really any thinking, I said, sure. They showed me how to style my hair. I was nodding along, even though I'll probably never do this, because that's just not really what I'm looking for. And we were done. I felt like a new person, with my bike helmet on, and ready to go on a bike trip. But I was happy that my hair was short again. In the end, in total, all of this hair experience was worth 60 euros. Wait, 60 euros? 60 euros. Hesitantly, with a little tear running down my face, I put my card on top of the little card scanner, and I left with a smile on my face, but a little crack in my heart. I didn't necessarily love the hair, but I also didn't hate it, and I was overall happy that it's shorter. On the way home, I was just thinking about how much money I just spent on a haircut. For that money, I could have bought like 20 pudding pretzels, or like 6 buckets of peanut butter. Obviously, I could have looked for a cheaper salon, but the reviews weren't that great, so I didn't want to risk it. The moral of the story: if you live in Germany, you live in Germany.